Alright everyone, let's talk about making lots of gold on global, but specifically I wanted to focus on making lots of gold quickly. So these are going to be tips on getting fast gold, and this is really for those of you guys who need lots of gold for something, but you don't want to take a ton of time in order to farm it out, because for most ways to get gold, it's not going to be something that is done immediately. It's going to take some time, but today's video I wanted to focus on the other side of the scale, and that is, what if you just want to get a bunch of gold right away? So let's go ahead and get started here and share with you guys some tips. And number one here, this is probably the most important thing on the video, is to use your skip tickets. This is a great way to just get a ton of gold basically immediately, and there's a couple different places that you can use your skip tickets. Now I want to first of all mention book farming for skip tickets, because this is the one that's going to be available a lot more in the future. I will showcase the Awakened Lily event, but by the time some of you guys watch this video, it might not be around anymore. So let's take a look at book farming first. So what you can do is you can just go over to the special dungeon and then head over to whatever book color that you want. It doesn't matter if you're using tickets, because once you've completed that area, then it doesn't matter. You could just use your tickets there anyway. And then what you really want to do, though, is make sure that you are using your tickets when it only costs 7 stamina, of course. And also make sure that you use your tickets on your team of units that does not have maximum affinity, because it's going to give them credit anyway. So just go through, use your tickets, and this is going to end up giving you your gold and your books, which you can, of course, end up selling for even more golds. Now, a big thing about this is I would make sure to run this when we have the event, not only for the half stamina, but it's also going to double the amount of gold that you end up getting for completing it as well, because normally books only end up giving you 2,400 gold per run. So if you were to use your skip tickets like sometime during the middle of the week, for example, it would only end up giving you 2,400 gold, and it would cost twice as much stamina. Unfortunately, it does not end up giving you the gold bonus from food, so you don't have to worry about using that, though. So now, of course, if you guys are watching this video during Awakened Lilia, this is another fantastic area to use your skip tickets, and probably going to be where I end up using a bunch of my remaining skip tickets before it disappears. But same thing here, this one costs 20 stamina. Just go to your skip ticket team, use your tickets. You could use up to 5 of them at once, and this is just going to end up getting a whole bunch of gold really quickly on your account. So there you have it right there. Alright, so that is number one right there, probably the biggest thing on the list, but there's still plenty of other ways to get gold quickly. So let's move on to number 2 here, and this is use your gold and eyeball keys in your inventory. Now, I actually showed something just recently. Some of you guys might have caught it, some of you have not. It's something you absolutely do not want to do, first of all. And let me just show you guys what that is in case you missed it. So going back to the special dungeon here, you do not want to do this, what I'm doing right here. Big mistake. Do not let your gold keys or your eyeball dungeon keys end up getting to max, because at that point they no longer regenerate naturally and you're just wasting resources. So try to keep an eye on this. They regenerate every 1.5 hours, so you have 15 hours to check the gold keys. The eyeball keys regenerate every 8 hours, so you have a full 40 hours to check those before they end up getting to maximum. But not only use the keys that you actually have naturally regenerating, but also if you guys have them starting to pile up in your inventory, they're going to be here in the one use section. You've got your eyeball keys, which I have a billion of these because of the new packs that are available. The weekly pack, which gives you 1 per day for like $4 a week or something like that with stamina potions. And then we have the gold keys as well. So, you know, if you guys have been piling these up here and you just need a whole bunch of gold in a pinch, go through it, start using them. But once again, I would really try my best to wait, if you can, until the weekends for the half stamina, because the half stamina is also going to have the, let's see if I can, the Fort Solgris. It's not just Fort Solgris stamina decrease, it's also Fort Solgris gold reward increase, and that includes the gold that you end up getting from the eyeball and the gold dungeon keys. So, alright, so that is number 2 right there. Still plenty more things to talk about. Now, number 3 here is look through your inventory, and this is something where, you know, obviously if you guys are newer to the game, you might not be able to apply this as much, but if you guys have been playing for a little while, look through your inventory and maybe see some stuff that you might be able to sell off. And this is something that really gets to you, especially later on in the game. You know, especially certain things like, you know, your chest. A lot of the times I accidentally forget to sell these very often, and they'll just completely pile up in my inventory. So make sure you guys are just always going through, checking, seeing what items that you use a lot of, seeing what items you do not use a lot of, and the items that you don't use a lot of, or there's just literally no reason to keep them in your inventory like gold chests, just go and sell them. Do not do this though. This is a mistake right here. What you want to do is you want to go to a you want to go to the village, or you want to go to the knighthood shop and sell them so that you end up getting that 20% additional gold. So the ones that I just showed you that give you 37,500, those will now end up giving you 45,000 gold. So make sure you get that 20% buff, which is permanent now from Veronica. Alright, now moving on to number 4 here. So this is a really big one that is going to be able to apply most of the time, but not all of the time. And that is if there's an event going on or an event shop, usually there's a big boost of gold that you can end up getting just from the actual gold chest that you can buy from that event shop. So like just the Awakened Lilia one, for example, if you end up going, I think it was in the growth section here, there's a whole bunch of SSR chests. There was a whole bunch of, I think even UR chests that were available here. And most events, you know, final bosses, all that sort of stuff, they're going to have some sort of gold option available. That's going to give you a huge boost. You could go ahead and buy them right away, but if you do that, just make sure that you still continuously run the event so that you can make sure to still buy all the important items before it ends. Because typically speaking, like the gold stuff would end up being the last thing that you buy. The exception is, of course, unless you just need a bunch of gold right away. But you don't want to sacrifice all the important stuff for gold. That's a mistake right there, but you shouldn't have to do that. If you guys are running the events properly, you should pretty much be able to buy everything out by the end of the event anyway. And it doesn't just apply to like the event shop as well. You know, make sure you guys are just keeping up to date with all the little events, because they do end up giving you a nice chunk of gold. Like this one right here, if you guys are still watching this video early on when it was released, the half anniversary one, we've got the bingo events, and events are just very generous overall when it comes to the amount of gold that they give you. So that's the next thing that you can do right there. So, alright, next up here on the list is get into the habit of a daily routine. And I emphasize this not only to make your life easier and make sure that you don't miss out any really important stuff, but your little daily routine that you do in Grand Cross Global, you'd be surprised at just how much gold you end up getting through this short little daily routine. Just as an example, like going through you know, you got your mailbox and watching these really annoying but short little mailbox ads. If you do that, that's 3 additional SSR chests. You know, you've got your knighthood check-in, which gives you, you get your SSR chest from that. You've got a whole bunch of stuff, including just your dailies. And I actually have not started any of my daily routine stuff. I'm recording this video like right at the start of my routine before reset. So you've got all of your, you know, daily quests. You've got SSR chests and gold rewards available from those as well. So it does add up to be quite a bit. And once you've been playing the game for a little while and you kind of get in that routine, you're going to be able to really get it down to a pretty short period of time, and you'll realize that you do get quite a bit of gold from it. Now, on the other side of the scale, I did not actually put this on the list right here, but very importantly, if you guys are newer to the game, make sure that you are also keeping up to date with all of your story content as well. You don't have to rush through it because it never goes away, but you will get a nice chunk of not only gold, but you end up getting really cool items like gold keys, eyeball keys, and other stuff that's going to help get you gold just by going through your story. So, you know, don't have to rush through it, but if you feel like you're able to progress through it once you get to a point, then make sure you are still moving along and don't accidentally forget about it. Then realize that you could have gone back, gotten a bunch of rewards, and it's extremely, extremely easy now. So it is something that you still do want to be working on. And the very last thing here that I want to end off the video on, very importantly, is, you know, kind of leading back into that idea that I mentioned at the start, that the most efficient way to really get gold is not going to be getting it quickly. There are ways to get gold quickly, like I talked about in this video, but getting the vast majority of your gold is going to come slowly over time by farming it, by doing things like the half stamina book farming, farming other things. But what you can do is to speed up your farming team. And speeding up doesn't necessarily mean increasing your combat class. You really want to look at exactly what your team is doing and how your team is performing and what you can do to decrease the amount of turns that your team takes when it comes to beating the encounter. And that doesn't necessarily mean better gear. It doesn't necessarily mean better units or higher combat class. In some cases, it can be as simple as, you know, something that I did for my Awakened Lilia farm was quite simply end up switching my Elizabeth from here to there in my Hauser, from there to here, you know, this little change already ended up speeding up my team just because of the way that the, you know, AI picks your abilities. So you want to go through and you want to really kind of examine exactly what your team is doing, how they are farming, and what you could do to decrease the amount of turns that they take when it comes to farming, because that's obviously going to speed up the amount of gold per hour that you get. And as you guys get to, you know, the more mid to late game, you're going to realize that the amount of gold per hour that you get is really going to be pretty high, and you'll have less of a need in order to feel like you want to get a bunch of gold really quickly, and you won't feel like you'll need to do as many of the things that I talked about in this video. So another big tip I would recommend leading things off is don't always blow through all your gold. That's never something that you want to do. You always want to save at least some gold so that you don't feel like you need to farm out a bunch of gold really quickly in order to do something. So anyway, though, I've thrown a ton of info at you guys in this video. That's going to be about it for today. So I hope that you all enjoyed it. If you did and you want more videos like this in the future, consider subscribing to the channel. Feel free to toss a quick like as well. It really does mean more than you can imagine. So thank you so much to all of you guys who decided to do that. More Grand Cross Global videos should be popping up on the screen right about now or in the suggested videos. Have a fantastic day. Take care, everyone. And until next time, this is Salt of the Salty Guild, signing out.